Hi, I'm Pastor Mark David, and I welcome you to today's edition of PowerPoints. In the Western world's pursuit of happiness, has it become more gay? Man has separated God from his world and considered him irrelevant to the day-to-day running of life. Religion to many simply represents a hope for eternity which has little bearing on earthly lifestyle, except for a few guiding moral principles. The kingdom of God is largely seen as a life of bliss after death. Jesus, however, spoke more about the kingdom of God than any other Bible preacher. And he indicated that the kingdom of God was not limited to a geographic location, but that it was within. He also indicated that it was at hand and taught his disciples to pray to God that his kingdom would come and his will would be done on earth as it is in heaven. A king's kingdom is not limited to his palace, but exists wherever and whenever he dominates as king. So heaven is God's throne, but it is not the only place that his kingdom dwells. Because Jesus taught us to pray for the coming of the kingdom on earth, so the governance of God in our lives ought to be a reality here on earth. In Genesis chapter 1, when the earth was without form and void and darkness covered the face of the deep, the first thing God did was to call light into being. And after 5 days of establishing the earth, he then said, "Let us make man in our image and likeness and let them have dominion." This clearly indicates that God did not just wind up the world and leave it to run for itself, but he created it with purpose, and he established it to dwell in light and to be governed by people who reflect his image and likeness, people who function like him. Clearly, God does not only govern the heavens, but through these people, he also intends to govern the earth. What stops you from pursuing the will of God? We all have passions in our lives which propel us in one direction or the other. For some, it may be the pursuit of pleasure and happiness. For others, it may be the amassing of material wealth. For many, it may be a quest for popularity and the approval of men. What is it for you? In Luke 18, a rich young ruler who displayed all the qualities of a successful man came to Jesus, and upon closer examination, it was discovered that he totally missed his calling in life. How would you like to be considered a success in this life by mortal onlookers, and yet fail your final test when you come face to face with God? To avoid this, we need to ensure that we develop a mindset which acknowledges the sovereignty of God in our lives. This is why our modern societies are becoming more and more debased, because we elevate human rights and personal happiness above the right of God the Creator to reign in the affairs of man. The face of our world is changing rapidly. Some dangerous movements in our modern world are threatening our time-honored value systems and redefining family, sexuality, and human rights. Modern shades of meaning of gender is no longer limited to male and female, but now includes at least 5 other categories: lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and intersex. On Friday, June 26, 2015, 5 out of 9 judges on the U.S. Supreme Court imposed their definition of marriage on the entire country and ruled that the United States Constitution provides same-sex couples the right to marry. President Barack Obama, the first sitting president to support gay marriage, hailed the ruling as a victory for America. On the 22nd of May 2015, a referendum in Ireland gave approval to provide the country's constitution that marriage is recognized irrespective of the sex of the partners. Since 2001, several countries have legalized same-sex marriages, such as the Netherlands, Belgium, Spain, Canada, South Africa, Norway, Sweden, Portugal, Ireland, Argentina, and Mexico. We are told that in some places, public schools are preparing to include gender identity in its curriculum, despite obvious objections from parents. The lessons includes teachings on heterosexual, homosexual, bisexual, and transgender identity. There are churches in our world today professing Christianity with openly gay clergy. Surely, the issues facing us are not just about this decriminalization of homosexuality and discrimination against homosexual persons, but it's really about the changing of the moral fabric of our society. There appears to be an agenda to gradually gain widespread acceptance, celebration, and propaganda of an ungodly lifestyle. While this is alarming, we ought not to be surprised, because the world has always been in rebellion against God's standards. It's just that we continue to wax worse and worse. We talk more about this in our next broadcast. I'm Reverend Mark David. And this has been PowerPoints from the Open Bible.